Well, hello everyone. It's Elaine here again. I've got my festive red cardigan on. Um, this weekend we've been to the Christmas lights switch on in our local town, Haywood, and there was a little fair on, and there was lots of families out and everything. So it's put me a bit in the Christmas spirit. So I thought I'd do a gift guide, and this gift guide is for book lovers. I mean, I'm in a real book loving phase at the moment. Joined a new book club and everything. So I'm going to go through, I think I have 9 gifts for book lovers. So get yourself a brew and, oh, I'm shaking it. Get yourself a brew and let's see what I've come up with. See you shortly. Right, I hope you're all comfortable. So most of these gift guides, I think, are under £20, and I've basically looked at what I could find on Amazon. I did go to Waterstones last week. I know I was a little bit disappointed that they didn't have as many. Sorry, I keep shaking this camera. They didn't have as many type of gifts as I was looking for. So I've literally just gone off Amazon. I'm going to put a picture up probably on this side of the image of the example of what I'm talking about, and then I'll link products below. So we'll start off. So one of the first things I found on Amazon, I've got my notes here as well. I've got my laptop open so I can read out what it says about it. No, that's number 2. Ooh, I told you I'd never be the slick, polished. Right. So one of the first ones I found was a book, and it's the Ultimate Reading Challenge, and it's got 25 fun challenges in the book, and then if you complete a challenge you get a little bookish, there's a little flap to open and you get a little bookish gift in it. And it's quite good for all ages, and it helps you tackle your to be read pile. So most of us bookish people know what your TBR is, your to be read pile, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think some of these challenges, it might say, I don't know, go and find a book about a kidnap, or that's a bit of an extreme thing that I've come up with, or come up with something that's maybe, read a book you loved as a child. So you might have an old classic about that you've been promising yourself you'll read it again. Read a book that features an Indigenous person. So you might have something to do with American Indians, Aborigines. And one of them says, visit your local bookstore, ask your bookstore seller to recommend a book to you. So there's all these different challenges. It makes you broaden up your reading genres and your reading taste. I thought that was quite good. Anybody who does like a bit of a challenge, or they're stuck in a bit of a reading rut, I thought that would be quite nice. And I think the price of it is, I think this might be one of the dearer ones on the, oh yeah, just £20. So I didn't think it's too bad. I haven't really picked anything expensive. But you know what? A lot of these things, I'm telling you, because I'm a big bookish person, I've been a bookish person, since I was a child. I've read. I'd like all of these. So I've chosen things that I think I would like. So moving on to number 2. Now, I've seen somebody else suggest this, and I think it's a really nice idea because I've got something similar, and a friend bought me something like this last year, and that is buy your friend or whoever, family member, a copy of their favourite book. But make it, there's so many beautiful covers out there. This photograph I'm going to put in I found it as a Charles Dickens book, Great Expectations. but the illustrations are beautiful, and it's got sprayed edges and that. There are so many nice books. My friend bought me up there, I think it was Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens, in a beautiful blue cover. And funny enough, I've never read many Dickens, and I've never read Tale of Two Cities, and it's been there since last year, but it is on my to read. I have got this one of my own. One of my favourite books is And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. So I had this beautiful book. Is that the right way up? Yeah. And Then There Were None, and it's on a sideways stack in our lounge. And that's a really nice little book. Nice, nice covers inside. So I actually do have this copy of my favourite book. And I know there's a series of there's a lot of beautiful Jane Austen's, beautiful books out there. Daphne du Maurier, people like that are beautiful. Do you know, I think they're a nice present. My other favourite book, which is Little Women. I read that as a child over and over, and I love that. I mean, I haven't seen one yet, but if I ever saw a real decorative cover of that, that's something that I really would like. And I think most of them are under £20. You might get the odd one that's more expensive. So my next one is not something I've used. I think if somebody gave it me, I would use it. And that's a book sleeve or a book cover. The one I'm showing you now, it's a waterproof one with a zip. So like I've been lugging my current paperback read. Look at that, mine's got a sprayed edge as well. Bit gruesome. But so you put them in a waterproof sleeve, and then it keeps it, store it in your bag when you're carrying it around. You don't drop if you go to work and you carry a lunch pack, you don't squash your banana against it or spill your drink in it or anything. And that's quite nice. And it's the size of an average book. And then this one's £10.99. It's got beautiful embroidery on it. But I know, especially with all bookish gifts, and particularly this, Etsy have lots and lots and lots. They're really, really, they've got lots of, individual, or you can get something personalised. So I think that was quite a nice idea. So another thing, very, very similar that I've got, excuse me, just keep looking at what I've got here. Now this is like a zipped wallet, a small wallet, but it's a Pride and Prejudice themed book, and this one's vegan leather, and it's really nice, and it's got a famous quote on the back of the purse from Pride and Prejudice, and this one's pretty nice because it's got like a nice peacock design on it. Now I must admit, you've seen in my bedroom, I've got things for feathers and peacocks, and that was £15, and I think that's quite pretty for somebody, because I'm always buying purses, I'm always changing my purses and getting little ones. Yeah, I don't know why, but that one's pretty. Jane Austen's not one of my favourite authors. I'm absolutely devoted to Dame Agatha Christie. But Agatha Christie, Little Women, I prefer somebody like Daphne du Maurier a little bit more from older authors. But I think that purse is really, really pretty, zipped. And then you've got a bookish gift. So now the next one, this is something I have in different formats, but I don't have it in this. Oh, I'm sorry, it's come out of order. I don't have it in this particular theme, but I follow a lot of book people on Instagram and on YouTube and that. And everybody seems to have this great thing that if you're sitting down for the evening with a book, or an afternoon, or it's a rainy day, they all put a throw over them. They all go, we get cozy with a throw and a drink and a candle. Not sure I do, but it seems to be a real fancy thing with book lovers. So here, there's a book themed throw. It says one more chapter. This one could be male or female, or you can get them personalised. You can get them pastel colours, girls, whatever. And throws seem to be very, very popular with readers. So particularly, like my niece has gone to university, I'm sure they all have throws in the rooms. I know she does and that. So like a bookish themed throw is quite nice. The next one is, I've seen these little shelf ornaments. If you've somebody who's got a bookshelf, and these are all little, you'll see there's some black figures where they're all sort of reading, sat, lying down, and there's a nice sat gold figure who I think is really, really pretty for putting on a bookshelf, you know. And they're not over expensive. And I think they're nice. I mean, I've got a couple of things on my shelf, but mine are, it was an atlas that my brother and sister-in-law gave me. I've got my old childhood money box and my original teddy. But I think everybody amongst the books, they do like to have some decorative pieces in between on the bookshelves. And I thought they were quite nice. And it, maybe not something you'd buy yourself because you'd rather spend your money on books. But I think if somebody gave it you, you would be really pleased with it. So that one's really nice. And these are about, those are the dearest. Now, these can come up over 20, but under 30. So they're quite nice. I must admit, I do like them. I like the gold one, but that's me. I like a bit of bling. Now, this next one is, it's a 3D book nook kit. And you've got to say that quite easily. Now, I wouldn't have known this was if my sister-in-law hadn't been given one a couple of Christmases ago. She's a very keen gardener. And basically, it comes as a kit. What I'm showing you now is the finished item, but it comes as a kit. And then what you do is the person who, if they like books and the crafty, but you could get the different theme, like you say, my sister-in-law's got a garden themed one. So you build it. It's a tiny little piece and you build it up, and it's a 3D little bookshop. It needs to be glued. It has little lights and things, and then at the end you're left with a lovely, lovely figure to keep. And they're absolutely lovely when they're made up. And most of these are under £20. And so that's for somebody who's a craftish book lover. Or like you say, Maureen had one as a gardener, and she spent ages on it. She's very patient and likes to do things like that. And she really enjoyed doing it. So that's a bit not something that if you haven't probably seen it before, wouldn't even think of it, because I wouldn't have done until I'd seen it. And then when I saw the bookish one, I thought that was a really nice gift. I don't think I have the patience for it anymore, but I would have liked it years ago. Next one is quite a cheap one, and it's a reading journal. I'm shaking my camera again. I have a reading journal. This is a book journal, but they're called reading journals, book journals. I got mine for £5 from the works, so they might still have them around. Now I'm saving this for next year. And basically, you keep a list of any books you want to read, and then as you start a book, you put the title, the author, the genre, what rating you give it. Most of us rate books out of 5. Was the day you started it, the date you finished, was there any memorable quotes in it, and what your thoughts were and your reviews. These are particularly good for people who do go to book clubs. We get a sheet of paper with this sort of information on for each book that we read, and then we complete it and hand it back. I think she collects them, the girl that runs them, but when I saw this, I really liked it. So I've got myself one of these, and I could start it now, but I'm going to start it in January. I think most readers set themselves a challenge every year. Like I'd say, how many books you want to read in a year, or how many in a month. I mean, some people devour books, don't they? Devour. When I go on Instagram and look at some people, they can have like 11 books in a month, and I think, whoa, that's not for me. I can do some speed reading, but if I get 2 or 3, I've had a good month. But I wanted to read 25 in 25, and I'm actually at 25 now. And in that reading, I include Kindle books, physical books, and audio books that I've listened to. So next year, I like to keep a record of it, and I'm going to start mine. But I think most devoted bookish people, readers, would love a book journal. Because again, it's probably not something you buy for yourself, apart from I did, but I just came across it. But I think that's another lovely book for a gift. And that one's, well, I mean, what was that? That was £5. The ones I've seen on Amazon are under a tenner. So that's a nice. And coming up to the last one now. Thank you for staying with me to this point. And this next thing is a little figure. Again, it's very similar to those other figures, but this isn't willow tree, but it's very much like the willow tree figures if you're familiar with them. And it's a girl reading a book, or you can have a girl sat down. The book's red. Um, and I've got a few of these willow tree figures. People have given me for when I've left jobs or, different things like birthdays. And I've got a few on a shelf. And funny enough, one of my closest friends who I go to book club with, she's got a shelf full of willow tree figures. They become a bit addicted. So they obviously do a reading willow tree figure. So if you know somebody who collects them but likes books, as I say, this one isn't willow tree brand that I'm showing you, but they may do one. I haven't investigated, but it's a very similar thing. Not all my figures are willow tree, but they all look similar and they all blend together on the shelf. So that's my final offering. Something really nice and decorative, and might add to somebody's already existing collection of figures. So those are my 9. Pity I couldn't have rounded it up to 10. I'm sure I could have done. So I'll link what I've seen below. But places like Waterstones. I know what number 10 was, and I didn't show a picture of it. A book token for Waterstones, or a national book token. Any avid reader would be absolutely welcome. Would love that. I got one because I got a book last year. I get a book every Christmas, 1 or 2, and I get a book token. John usually buys me a book token. I'm really pleased with that. So yes, a book token. I very much lately, for a lot of my Christmas gifts and things, if you've got a local independent bookstore, then I think if you can support them, they would be fantastic. There is one. The nearest independent to me is in Manchester, one called the Book of House and Friends, has a little cafe in it and everything. I might do a review. I keep saying I'll do these different things, but it's a beautiful shop. No, so if you've got an independent bookstore, support them. Buy a gift from them, or buy a voucher from them. So yeah, finally a book voucher is number 10. That was almost an afterthought, wasn't it? And yet it was one of the first things I thought of. So I hope this helps you as a gift guide for people who love books, or if you love books yourself and you want to treat yourself, or you want to hint heavily to friends and family and loved ones that you would be you'd like to receive something like this, then there you go. I hope I've given you some food for thought. Anyway, thank you for staying to the end, supporting my lovely little small growing channel. If you'd like to subscribe, maybe press the bell for notifications. But I hope I've helped you a little bit again today, and I can't thank you all enough for supporting me. Anyway, I hope to see you all again soon. So bye now. Take care.